Frank, hold it steady. I'm gonna put the star on the top of the tree.
Hold on, let me plug it in first.
Whoa! Watch the food, will you, Frank? I got an EDGEFINDER alert I want to look at.
I got you.
The food, Frank, not the charts.
Oh, yeah, sure thing. You didn't leave the keys in the spaceship, did you?
Yeah, I did. Why?
I think someone just stole them.
Oh, gosh. You know what? Whatever. That was kind of a last month thing anyways.
I think I just saw Santa walk past the window.
Frank, the food! You left the oven on!
I'll get it.
You're both here? I could have sworn I saw your ship fly by.
I don't want to talk about it.
It was Santa's sleigh.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift you know that you've been wanting. A funded trading account with FX2. FX2 allows you to earn real profits on a simulated account up to $200,000. To start, select any of their one-step evaluations. We know things can get pretty hectic during the holidays, but you can take your time with the evaluations because there's no time limit to complete them. And with FX2, once you pass, they'll even refund your evaluation fee during your first withdrawal. You can collect up to 85% of the profits that you gain on your account. You can buy a whole lot of presents with that kind of money. Get funded with FX2 today and find the most wonderful trades of the year.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video here, or another live stream. Thanks for joining me here today. Let me get my screen shared so you guys can see that as we kick off another day. Shout out to everybody who hung out with us yesterday. Ivan took over the stream for a little while. It was awesome. I was out of the office. I actually went to the Big Apple this weekend, New York City. We went to a Broadway show, saw some friends. We had a great time. To be honest, New York City, not the place for me. It's pretty crowded, but I believe I went during one of the more chaotic times of the year, as you can probably imagine, Christmas in New York. It was very cool, but very crowded. Anyways, it's good to be back. It's good to be back in the studio, talking setups, looking at markets. Speaking of which, there is plenty to talk about. This actually is, despite it being the week really before the market, goes away for Christmas, still some volatility out there, and also some decent market moving news this week as well. We have core PCE, I believe, on Friday. Should be market moving. We also had the Bank of Japan's press conference. Did the yen move at all? Let's take a quick look at the yen here. Yen did in fact move a little bit higher, and ask the question: Is this a possible sell the rally kind of event on the dollar against the Japanese yen? I'd definitely like to take a look at it. What happened to CAD CPI, Nick? You decided to skip it. It's not usually one that I'm really keen on watching, to be completely honest. CAD inflation. I mean, we could take a look to see if there was much volatility, and there was some here on the CAD CPI news. We did get a drop in the dollar against the CAD. So CAD must have strengthened here a little bit. Let's take a look at CAD yen, for example. Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of activity. But yeah, decided to skip it just because, again, not necessarily the biggest market news. Trades that I'm currently in, I want to just cover here a little bit. I am still long the pound USD. I was able to stay in this trade here. So price came down, well, pulled back here. And I entered on this candle. Price jumped right off the bat. Pretty good entry when you look at it now. But let me clarify something. My initial entry almost got stopped out. So this red zone here, this reflected my initial stop loss. I put my stop loss below this wick low, right? And you can see that after my entry, price shot down and just narrowly missed my stop loss before ultimately moving in the right direction for me. But again, you can see my entry by no means was it was not a hallmark entry this time around. Anyways, price shooting up here, pulled back, and this morning we're trading back higher. As long as we sort of respect that low, then I'll stay in the trade. If price does break through that low, that's going to be a trailed stop for profit here. My stop loss is at 1.2619. Updated this to members inside of our Discord community. Let me just show you this here. By the way, if you're not already inside of the Discord and you would like to join, we'll drop a link here real quick. If you guys want information about the VIP group and what it entails, it's a great time to join. We got some good volatility this week, and we will continue to be trading pairs like pound dollar. We'll probably be trading gold. I want to talk about a gold setup that I'm interested in. We'll trade gold if we can. S&P 500 still, you guys know the drill there. Still long, going to be riding that one. Trailing stops. I did trail stops, by the way. We got a lot of updates to get through here in this video, or in this stream. Like I said, first thing foremost, I am still long the pound and happy to stay long the pound. We take a look at the smart money tracker. It's got something interesting here. Look at the pound. Look at this. Check this out. GBP, 58.81% net positions are long. So a slight preference from institutional money to be long the pound on a longer term basis. But check this out with me, guys. Look at this. We scroll down. The money flow is what I like to look at the most. It's the week to week. The money flow it's an indicator that we created, just basically a table built out of the COT data that we've formatted in a way that I think is a lot easier to understand. What we can see is that this is week to week changes. This is like the latest money moves, if you will. Again, this is the non-commercials. This is the COT data. We're tracking essentially hedge funds, institutional money, speculators, large speculators specifically, right? So when we look at the pound, the GBP here, I like to look at the far right-hand column. And this is going to show you essentially the net change week to week. Okay, so check this out. Net change was 3.99% to the long side. That's bullish, right? So pound, this gave me some extra confidence in my trade on the pound USD. So I am still long. I like that we see big money kind of moving in on the pound. I like to see that. And you know what else I like about it, guys? Check this out. Flip the script. What about the dollar? Because remember, currency pairs are, anytime if you're an FX trader, you are always trading two things at once. In my case right now, I'm long pound, short dollar. You cannot, if you're going to trade a currency pair, you got to be long one, short the other, right? That's how that goes. So when I see both the pound getting bought by institutional money and the dollar getting shorted by institutional money, they picked up 2,244 long contracts. I'm sorry, short contracts in the latest filing. Wow, right? That's a big shift. I believe these are in multiples of like 1,000 or something crazy. It's a huge amount of contracts, right? Big shift, 4.56% short. And you combine that with the pound, again, that is going to give us on the top setups algorithm. Well, no, it's not. It's getting a +3. Still, pound USD was a bullish setup. It's kind of fallen off, perhaps. Actually, what is the pull away? Economic stats, inflation, labor statistics, interest rates. Trend is still up. But when I bought it initially, it was in the bullish camp. So it's come down a little bit. But regardless, the point is overall, the Edge Finder is pulling in all that data. It's looking across the matrix, if you will, and comparing all these different nodes. I think that what's interesting here is that you look at the pound, you say, well, institutional money seems going short the dollar, long the pound. I like the trade, so I'm going to stay in it, right? By the way, if you guys want this data, if you want COT data for yourself, you can look at whatever indice or currency or commodity that you'd like. You can also even get push notifications, all that sort of stuff. If you would like to get access to this and you do not already have a copy, we're going to do a holiday sale here on the stream. We'll give you a super discount if you message in right now. Check this out. We'll do a significant discount for you. And hey, I got something for you. We're hanging out. It's Tuesday. Little Christmas gift coming early because people are going to probably be out of the office or out of the trading desk during the actual week of Christmas. I'm going to do something real quick. And Chandler and James, if you guys don't mind letting the reps know that I'm about to do this too. If you guys message us here while we're on stream, we're going to do a little bit of a Christmas comes early sale here for those of you guys who would like to go ahead and pick up the net positioning, the COT, the latest money flow, all these indicators in one single indicator, the A1 Edge Finder Pro. If you would like to get a copy here today, guess what? You're in luck. We're going to do real quick a 40% off discount. If you guys want 40% off during this stream only, shoot us a message using the link that's on your screen right there. You can go to the chat window. If you're on your phone, it's down below. If you're on a desktop, it's on the right-hand side of your screen. If you guys want a copy of the Edge Finder, we'll do 40% off. Same thing, by the way, we'll do the same thing for Discord. If you guys want to join the VIP, the reason I'm doing this is we'd love to have you join us during the new year. If you'd like to get yourself set up with new tools before the new year, if your goal in 2024 is to be a better trader, then start now. Get yourself access for super discounted rates here today to our software. We're a software company out of Atlanta, Georgia. If you enjoy our streams, if you enjoy the data we're using, and you'd like to get yourself a copy, take advantage and message us here while we are live and get that super discounted copy of the Edge Finder or the Discord. Again, that's only for while we are live streaming. And if you watch us back at a later time and you hear that, click the link in the chat. We'll honor that too. If you just let us know you missed the stream, or if you're here watching with us, this is your chance to get a copy super discounted. Okay, so continuing on, pound USD, we're still long. I mentioned that I need to update you guys on the S&P real quick. So I am still long. This thing just does not want to end. I'm definitely not complaining because it just wants to keep going. I'm fine with that. But I am starting to get a little bit challenged by where I trail stops here because I have to drop down to the 4-hour chart. It makes a little bit more sense when I look at the 4-hour, right? When I look at the 4-hour here and I say, okay, well, we've consolidated in this region before breaking out again. It seems like if I was being really aggressive with a stop, what I would do is I'd trail it below here. And that might be very well my next move. If we scream higher, right? If we certainly clear this level, and one way I like to quantify this is a little bit of a trick here I use with fibs. Check this out. This is too much information, but if we can get somewhere like up to 47.66, meaning that this area then becomes a potential 38.2% retracement, that is one of the ways that I like to quantify, oh, it's time to trail stops, okay? I use fibs because look, we haven't actually reached that level. So the fib, this is not yet a 38.2% retracement. If we pop higher, that is a way I like to quantify, okay, we have thoroughly broken out of a region. This is a cool trick, and you guys might use this in your own analysis if you find it valuable. I'll draw a fib, an imaginary fib, and say, breakout hits 47.64, then suddenly a 38.2% retracement is at 47.44. Does that make sense? Can you guys type yes in the chat if what I just explained, like drawing the imaginary fibs? By the way, guys, can I tell you something? Little inside secret. When we were, this is the trading secret you need to know, okay? When I was in New York, I was hanging out with, I mentioned we went to go see some friends. I was in New York City this weekend. Not a big New York person. Clarified this already. kind of a New York hater. Anyways, we had fun. The people there that we went to go see, that's why I went. But anyways, we're hanging out with friends, and I met one of our friends' boyfriend, and he told me, get this, guys, guy from Toronto, right? He's from Toronto. He said, you know, Nick, you look like a hockey player with the hair. And my heart, it was freezing cold out there, yet my heart still melted. Come on. Okay, thank you guys for the feedback, by the way. Lots of you guys saying yes. What's up, Annie, Rudy, Pierre? Good to see everybody in the chat today. Hope you're doing well, and hope you've had a good trading year. And if you haven't had a great trading year, I just want to say 2024, if you want to be a great trader in 2024, let me just say this to you. Let me speak to you. If you've had this thought, oh, you're like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm turning around 2024. Stop. Motivation is cheap and doesn't last. Make that change right now. If you want to be a good trader in 2024, it starts in 2023. And you know, how does it start? It starts by, oh, you've got some holiday time to hang out at the house. If you have any time where you're not doing anything, don't play video games, don't watch movies, don't watch shows. If you want to be a trader, time to back test. This is a really hard thing to do to become a profitable trader. So if you have some time coming up, get busy, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, you got to get busy. Anyways, bad year for me. I own gold and silver miners. How's the GDX doing? GDX? Well, you know, you've had a little bit of recovery, right? I guess if you, well, let's see. January. It's a pretty flat year, I guess, if you held it from January till now. What about GDXJ? A little bit of junior miners action. Junior miners, kind of the same story. I don't own any of the miners. You know, to be completely honest, I'd rather own the gold than I would rather own the gold mining stocks. It's my personal opinion. Bought last year. It happens. It happens. Best way to become a better trader, lower risk and back test. Jason, you're so right. By the way, I just want to say to those of you guys who celebrate it, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year's to everyone. Quick look at gold. I'm going to be very honest. I'm kind of frustrated by gold right now. I was hoping for a redemption trade. I'm not talking about a revenge trade, but I have been really, I'll be straight up. I've been really off with gold in the second half of this year. First half, I had some pretty good trades on gold, but second half, I've just not been able to nail this one correctly. And I was looking for this pullback. So for those of you guys watching gold, let me give you my thought process, and it might still come into fruition. We'll have to see. My thought process was, okay, Fed's looking to cut. Boom, gold bullish. Lovely. What do I do? Well, wait for a pullback. And this has been the story of my life with trading gold recently. I'm constantly waiting for the pullback and missing the pullback. Does anybody else feel that way? Anybody else feel a similar frustration with gold in particular recently? Type yes in the chat. If you feel like, yeah, same, then it's been frustrating because I feel like I've been decently right about the direction of gold, but either early or waiting for pullbacks and missing it. A bit frustrating, to be completely honest. And I've been doing, like, I just want to say, you know, I try and say those sorts of things when I'm feeling them consistently because I've been doing this for what feels like a long time. I've been doing this for like 8 years. So please understand if you're newer to this stuff and you feel those frustrations, I hate to burst your bubble, but those feelings don't go away. There's always kind of a frustration with trading. Trading is like constant frustration. Anyways, let's talk proactively. My opinion for gold, I am still looking at that 2,061.8% retracement as a pullback zone I want to be a buyer at. And if that means I miss the trade, then so be it. You know, it's okay to miss trades. It can be frustrating and it's okay to acknowledge that. But for me, the trade pullback here to 2000 is the only real thing I see right now. However, there is one other context in which I look to buy gold at actually a higher price than where it currently sits. And that is the idea that, well, take a look here. You've got what is currently acting as resistance. Take a look at supply here. Okay, so resistance. here's my concept with this, okay? So 2000, obviously, good pullback zone for me if I can get it. But what I need, the alternative for this, remember, let's get the pullback trick going. I would need a breakout up to like 2054, followed by some sort of pullback to get me there. Remember my trick. You guys, a lot of you typed yes that you understood that trick that I pointed out with the fibs. Draw the fib from the swing low to your hypothetical new high, right? And that would tell you, okay, hey, it's a strong breakout. Cool little trick there. So again, that's what I'm looking for. I would either be, in my personal view right now, currently as we record, it can change in the future, break and retest setups at 2040, let's call it, or significant pullback to the 2000 mark. I'm interested in both scenarios. So scenarios. Anybody say scenarios? Is it scenario, Mario, or scenario? Is it? What do you guys think? Scenario or scenario? Sounds like you're saying Mario when you say scenario. Scenario. S&P pushing here this morning, staying strong. But you know, this thing is, it's so weird. It just does not stop grinding higher. It's almost like so much money is just flooding into this system right now. And probably, I would argue that a lot of that is the money markets. If you haven't heard me talk about this, money markets are, you know, if you're not familiar, money markets for many banks, it's like that's so weird how StreamYard does that. Can you guys still hear me? My streaming software sometimes just blinks and everything goes missing and then it comes back. Let me know if you can hear me. Just type yes really quick. That would let me know that we're good. Scenario. Okay, trucking says Mario. Scenario. Yeah. So what I was saying is that my concept with the S&P, things can stay bullish for a lot longer than people oftentimes think. If you've been shorting this thing, it's been just a rest in peace rally. If you've been a bull with my style of trading, there has never been in my trading career a better scenario for trailing stops. This is the best trade of my personal trading career. I bought this thing in the beginning of November. We tracked it all live on the stream. I mean, the initial trade, the whole VIP signal was sent from the very beginning until now. We are still trailing this stop. And for my style of trading, there has never been, in my personal trades, there's never been a better perfect rally. I have trailed a stop loss on this trade several times. If you're someone in the VIP, you know what I'm talking about. If you've been watching this, if you've been riding, a lot of people have been riding this with me. But look at these. These are all just updates, trailing stops, trailing more profit, trailing more profit, trailing more profit. I'm not saying that to brag because, like I said, I've been so wrong in other areas of my trading recently. I've been really poor on gold. I've been done pretty good on the pound, and I've been trading the S&P. You know, the point is, you don't have to be right all the time, but sometimes one good trade, oh my gosh, it's just been a monster mover, and it just keeps going. And this is why I trade the way that I do, because oftentimes trailing stops, I've said this many thousands of times, sometimes trailing stops are really frustrating. Okay. Meaning like I enter and it goes in my profit, or it goes in my direction, but then comes back and takes me out. Or I move my stop loss into profit and then I take a really small win and then it goes off without me. So every once in a while, periodically, you get scenarios. Did I just say it the wrong way? I said it the wrong way. Scenarios. That's how I like to say it. You get scenarios where the market just does not quit. And this is one of those moments where it's just a nonstop bullish march. And we are along for the ride. And I would like to stay along the ride as long as I possibly can. GJ as well. What's going on with pound yen? Oh, you're talking about being bearish on these setups. We do need to talk a little bit about yen pairs. We'll come back to that in just a second. let me keep going with my thesis here today. Yen, I don't hate the idea of possible bearish setups on some of the yen crosses. And I'm speaking meaning like being potentially me being bullish yen and bearish counters to yen. We've seen institutional money pick up a bit of a bullish interest here. This is the latest filing from institutional money. COT money flow, again, showed accumulation on the yen week over week, 3% increase. That's meaningful. So big money seems to be buying the yen, and that's a notable thing. It's a notable shift. But what else are they? What are they bearish on? Let's take a look. USD. And I pointed this out earlier in the stream. So when I go now take a look at the dollar against the Japanese yen, if you're somebody who tracks big money, if you're somebody who tracks institutional money flow, then the trade right now that I'm seeing that looks interesting is dollar yen. I really like the idea of possible bearish setups on this one. I think you have to be careful because the dollar yen is a very volatile currency pair. We did hit targets and now we're seeing a healthy pullback. I think this makes a lot of sense. We're seeing, price dropped off of a cliff. I know Frank shorted this drop, which was wonderful for him. I am now, looking at this pullback and saying, well, we've hit targets. I'm not saying it's going to full on reverse. I'm saying it's probably due for a healthy pullback. And then perhaps there's kind of a, sell the rally kind of event. We'll see if that plays out. I think if you do get this rollover, the risk to reward is beautiful because it, in my view, could even take out the lows and continue lower. So the risk to reward there looks pretty decent. In fact, even this idea here, stops above market structure here. A move back down to the lows gives you about a 1.7 to 1. And that's with a pretty generous stop loss, right? It's pretty loose structure. If you get that, set up, that I don't hate that. Again, big money seems to be selling dollars and bullish yen, at least in the latest filing. If you do want to track the filings on your own, remember I did mention this. We're doing an early holiday sale. We're doing 40% off if you message us right now. Again, if you are somebody who wants a copy of our software, we build tools for traders. We're a software company out of Atlanta, Georgia. We have a team of a total of 10 people now. If you want a copy of our tool that we've been working on for the last few years, if you want a copy for 40% off while we're on live stream, just a heads up, it's a one-time fee to get it. It's not, you don't have to pay recurring fees to us. We basically charge you a ticket to get in, and then you can use the tool. If you want to get a copy for 40% off, send us a direct message here. We've got the link in the chat here for you. So click this link, send us a direct message. Let me show you what that looks like. So if you do decide you want to get a copy on that super discounted rate, click the link that's in the chat there, the talk to, it's our live chat center. Click chat now and click EDGEFINDER discounts or VIP. If you want VIP, you can get that access too. If you want the trade alerts or the EDGEFINDER, shoot us a message and we'll get you that set up. Okay, just let us know that you saw the 40% off on stream and we will honor that today. So take advantage of that super discounted rate. I mentioned this earlier. If you're somebody who's thinking about, if you want to level up your trading in 2024, do not, I'm telling you, don't do it. Every year, I've been doing this for a long time on social media. Every year I get flooded with people saying, next year's my year, but I'm going to take a little bit of time off and then come back to it in the new year. Come on, man. If you're really serious about this stuff, shoot us a DM right now and get yourself some tools, get yourself some education. Take this holiday season as a time to step away from the charts and learn. I mean, I just never understand this. And I'm frustrated by this because every year I get the same DMs. Every year I get people saying, my New Year's resolution is to be a better trader. Well, then do it. Stop talking about it. Get it done. Get your back testing going. Join a group like ours where you can get into coaching webinars and ask your questions and take notes. And, I just never understand that, right? If you're serious about this stuff, do it. Don't talk about doing it. Just do it, right? So if you're interested in joining us, take advantage of that 40% off for the holidays. We'll get you set up. If you shoot us a message, we'll get you squared away. So dollar yen. I like the setup. I already have dollar bearish exposure in my pound USD trade. So I'm not going to double up on the same concept. Most likely pound USD rallies with the dollar yen dropping. So I already have the trade on. Stop loss is trailed, as I mentioned. Entry is still intact here. Caught that move here on the Fed speak that we had, and would absolutely love to stay in this trade if I can. I've trailed my stop loss below this pullback. We found buyers here. It's definitely confidence restored here a little bit in the trade. Pound USD staying strong. Looks like it wants to retest the highs. And my next point of contention is, can we break through the highs? At which point I'll trail a stop further. But again, risk is off the table. I have 2 trades open right now. Well, 3 trades open right now. I have a Russell put that I sold, S&P trade still going, and I am also long pound USD with a stop loss trailed into profit. In terms of pending trades, as I mentioned, trades that I'm not yet in, I'm watching gold for either a pullback or a break and retest. Both scenarios look pretty interesting to me. So here's the daily chart on the gold market. Still looks really intact. And I like the story here. I like the fundamentals for gold right now. What did smart money do with gold, by the way? Let's take a look at that. Gold kind of sold it. So hesitant there, but I still like the overall story. And if we take a look, by the way, let's go take a look at the COT indicator. Give it a second to load here. So I'm going to go to gold here. And this one always takes a minute to load. It's pulling a lot of data to do this, but there it goes. Okay, so gold, this is the historical price of gold. This is the COT net positioning. And by the way, this new indicator that we've been working on, net retail sentiment, can also be cross-examined. Pretty cool. Frank and Giles on our dev team did a wonderful job putting this together. So Roberto, I love that. Traded my demo for 3 years and took, do you know how much money would be saved if people stayed on demo for 3 years? Do you know how much money would be saved? Countless amounts of dollars. So many people just trade right away. They just jump in. No education, no demo, no back testing, no learning. Just let's make some money, right? And then boom, you just became part of the system and just spent money into the system, right? That's essentially what so many traders do. If you want to take the stuff seriously, I'm telling you, it is a lot of work. Anyways, taking a look here, price of gold has been on the rise for the last, few days here since, we've bottomed out around December 12th, December 13th, December 11th. And what we can see here is that retail sentiment and smart money tracker. So institutional money has been increasingly bullish, which is interesting. You've seen this bullish change, whereas back over here, you can see institutional money, which is the orange line. They were bearish over here, catching that sell. And then now they've become bullish over here, which gives me a little confidence. Overall, sure, maybe week to week, there wasn't anything super interesting. But overall, story seems institutional money is net positive on gold right now. I really like this chart, by the way. Frank and Giles, you guys did awesome with that. While we're on the topic, let's look at S&P. I find this one to be very, very interesting as well. Institutional money, the second half of this year has just been buying. Even through this dip, this was the tell. I don't know if you guys remember. Some of you who are like everyday fans, Frank and I kept looking at this during this period of time. Check this out, guys. This is the S&P 500 trade or chart. Crossed against COT net positioning. Check this out. If you're someone who's been watching the streams, then you might have remembered during this period of time, Frank and I kept pointing out, hey, this is really interesting. The price on the S&P kept going lower, but institutional money kept buying. So again, reminder, COT net positioning is this blue circled area. The yellow circled area is the price of the S&P. The S&P was going down while institutional money was building a big position. And then look at what happened. The rally. You can't make this stuff up. Sometimes it is just too interesting when you see institutional money flowing in and the chart itself going down, that has got to be an interesting indicator to keep a close eye on. It's why we track COT data so close. Again, if this is something you're interested in, we just added the COT indicator. If you're somebody who does have a copy already, click on this COT indicator, play around with it. It's a really cool new chart here. And you can also see it's just starting to collect data, but we also have retail sentiment also showing up. This is interesting because look at what retail is doing. Getting more bearish. They've been getting more bearish the whole way up. Isn't it so peculiar how markets work? At the end of the day, sentiment is huge. It really, really interesting. I watch Nick. He's very transparent. It's real trader. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the positive support. If you are enjoying the show, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. We do appreciate it here. We try and keep it real. And by no means am I, the greatest of all time. Please, understand I'm very wrong sometimes. It's just that, every once in a while you catch the right one. And for me, that's been the S&P this year. We tracked that. Again, I told you guys the COT data, the seasonality, those things were screaming this market wants to go higher. And it finally broke out in November. Here's the honest side. I was in there bullish on this thing early. And that's why if you've looked at my Twitter and you saw I post up my personal trading performance, there was like 3 months of just straight up loss on my account. So please understand, even though I was right, I also was early and took a lot of losses along the way. Anyways, again, let me just remind anybody who didn't hear, we are doing, while we're streaming, we're doing our 40% off holiday sale. If you message us while we are live streaming, you can get 40% off our software. And again, I keep making this speech, but if you're somebody who wants to be a better trader in the new year, if you've been struggling with this stuff for a while and you want to get serious and you want to get the right tools, or you want to join our VIP group and learn something, do not hesitate. Shoot us a message right now. We are live streaming. We've got people in the office who can set you up with a super discounted copy of the EDGEFINDER or to our VIP group. If that's something you're interested in getting access to today, shoot us a DM. Click that link. I mentioned it earlier. When you click it, it takes you to our direct message center where you can chat with a rep on my staff. So click this and ask for the holiday discount that we did on the stream, and we'll get you 40% off either the EDGEFINDER or our Gold VIP. So shoot us a DM and we'll make it happen. Take a quick look at oil, guys. Is oil interesting move here? I'm not quite ready to sell this thing because, again, top setups kind of lost its, at least last time I checked. Yep. No bearish setups here on oil. Where is oil? Hello? Oh, there it is. Whoa. Okay. Oil flipped bullish. Interesting. Interesting. I talked about this yesterday on oil. So interesting that this actually popped into the bullish territory. It was the trend. The trend flipped. Momentum seems to be favored to the upside right now. I'm going to say that for me, oil, if I'm going to get bullish, it's got to break this downward curse. That's what I'll call it. Daily chart still struggling here. The reason that's so interesting to me is because the EDGEFINDER has been bearish for a while on oil. But with interest rates poised now to go lower in 2023, according to the Fed and market expectations, resoundingly so. If you get, those are obnoxiously big circles on. If you get something where you start breaking that downward trend, energy might be an interesting place in the new year. Why? Well, if rates start coming down and the economy doesn't die off, which it doesn't seem like it is or has, many people thought the economy was going to like die off with all the rate hikes and the de-escalation in the Middle East. I mean, there's still terrible, terrible things going on over there. But for a period of time, oil spiked higher off the idea that many other countries could get involved. And now that doesn't seem to be, I guess, the consensus. Point being, if oil is going to rally, it could do so off of inflation cooling, right? So again, this is what the EDGEFINDER does for you. If you're wondering, what does the EDGEFINDER's algorithm do? I'll show you. Inflation's cooling. So could argue that, well, if inflation is cooling and the Fed is going to let rates come down, economies around the world are probably going to be better off in that scenario. I keep doing it. Scenario. I say scenario. The labor market is staying strong. That's also really good for global economic output. By the way, side note, gold bulls, gold bears, opposite effect. Strong labor market and strong economic output is not super bullish for gold because, again, the economy being really strong makes stocks look attractive, makes other things look more attractive than gold. Gold is looking great when the markets are like, oh, that economy is going to collapse, going to fall apart. We need to be in something like gold, which is more stable, more timeless. We don't see that effect right now. We see a labor market that's tight. That's great for oil. We see inflation cooling, which is going to offset the Fed a little bit. Interest rates going to come down. Do you see how the EDGEFINDER is doing this automatically? I'm saying what the EDGEFINDER has already computed, which is cool. The economy's hanging in there. The trend seems to have flipped. Seasonally, not the best in December, but we'll have to take a look at January. Retail sentiment crowd seems to be on the short side, so that's kind of going against us. I'm sorry, on the bullish side, so that goes against us. We typically want to fade what retail is doing, at least the EDGEFINDER's algorithm does. COT bias, not the most shiny, but the point is we're getting enough of a bullish reading here to give us a +5. Oil looks interesting. I'd be looking for a breakout. Breakout on oil, I may actually be a buyer, which is crazy to say because a few weeks back, I was a seller. But again, I think it's important to just, as a trader, it's important to adjust. There's a guy I follow, goes on CNBC. He's a money manager, and I really respect his ability to flip biases because a lot of times people just get so stubborn about their positioning. But it's really one of the most strong abilities that a trader can have is to acknowledge changing conditions and position differently. Oil ship attacked at the Red Sea. I have not looked into that. %0 of the world's oil goes through the Red Sea. What is going on in the Red Sea? Can somebody tell me? Houthi attacks in the Red Sea threaten the global supply chain. Okay, interesting. Yemen's Houthi rebels strike a Norwegian flag tanker. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look a little closer to see if that's something that I think would be meaningful in terms of the oil market trade. But overall, I think there's a slight, upside to oil with the whole, conflict. Conflict, just generally speaking, usually causes oil markets to rise. We saw that in Ukraine situation back in 2022. It's a kind of a commonplace thing when war sort of stuff breaks out, like we saw over here. Oil typically jumps higher, but also it typically floats higher if the economies around the world are pretty strong. So we'll have to keep an eye on Chinese economic output. Are they growing? Because that's a huge consumer of oil. So I know I've spent a lot of time on oil, but it is actually an interesting trade for me. I'm watching gold, I'm watching oil. So commodities trades are probably the area I look to kind of set up. Meanwhile, still trailing my stop on the S&P 500. This one has just gone and gone and gone. NASDAQ, same thing, super bullish. I mean, if I'm watching this, I can't buy these things. These things are, I'm not going to say overbought, but they're at levels where I can't find like, oh, I feel like I'm getting a great, pullback entry. I entered back here, so I've just been trailing a stop. To be completely honest, the reason I trail stop is because if it was just based on, oh, I think this thing is overdone, I would have sold it back here. That's why I trail stops. I don't know how far a trend can run. I don't claim to know how far a trend can run. I'm a trend follower. I follow the trend. That means trailing stops. That means letting the market tell me when it's time to get out, not when I feel like it's overdone. Dollar yen, very nice. So far looking pretty good here, that drop. Here's a 4-hour chart. We'll see if it can stay, if this holds here, that could very well head back to the recent lows. We'll see. Speaking of lows, what's the dollar doing? Yeah, look at the dollar. Dollar just does not want to quit. We will continue to be trading this one inside the group for sure. By the way, guys, last call on the 40% off discount. If you are somebody who is watching us here live and you want the 40% off discount, we are doing 40% off of our signals group or the EDGEFINDER, which is our market scanning software you see so often in the streams. If you would like a copy or to join the VIP group, this is your last call. I'll give my final speech on this matter. If you're somebody who's serious about trading and you plan to make a difference in 2024, please do yourself a favor. Do not stay waiting to start that idea until 2024. Do it right now. I know a lot of people, my wife has a couple of days off this week. I know a lot of people have some time off. They have some downtime. Yes, relaxing and taking a break is important. But if you really want to do this and you're working a full-time job, but you also want to trade, there is no better time to come learn than when you have a little bit of free time. If you want to be a hustler, you got to hustle. So take advantage. We're doing 40% off. If you shoot us a direct message while we are live here, someone from our team will get you hooked up with a significant discount off of our group where you can get access to our trade signals, our coaching webinars, our strategies in downloadable PDF form, and a live trading community of serious traders from around the world. If you'd like to join that, if that's something you're interested in, click the link, message us, get 40% off. If you'd like some market data to help you out in your trading analysis, if you like the tools that we use and you're trying to take your trading seriously and to the next level, get yourself some tools. 40% off if you direct message us here today. That is our holiday sale that we're doing. So shoot that message there, take advantage. And with that said, that's going to wrap up the show here today, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I know we went for quite some time, went for 47 minutes, which is it's a pretty good size stream just for me to go solo, but I enjoyed hanging out with everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll be back streaming for the rest of the week, but we are getting closer to the holidays. So again, if you're serious, come join our group, come get involved. You have some great time here in the next few days. Many people probably have some time away, so take advantage. With that said, guys, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back on the next one. See you guys.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through our daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. And yes, I'm Santa and I work for A1 Trading. Don't ask any questions. Now, get lost because I have some presents to deliver. I'll see you all at Christmas.